let's talk about something you call the AAA process. This is not for everybody that's getting out their AAA card to see if they're up to date. No. This is not roadside assistance. What is this?
AAA process. Someone asked me, they said, Hogan, how are you striving to improve? They were talking about seeing me at some events, and they said, dude, I saw you a few years ago, and you're so much better than you were. And looking at that, and I took it as a compliment, but I said, here's what I do. I'm constantly assessing myself. Mm-hmm. So the first A of the AAA, 3 A's, assessing, meaning being honest about where I am, right? Being honest about how I'm performing. And leaders can do this. Be real with yourself. And this is where you're looking in the mirror and you're being honest about your strengths and your flaws. The next A is, you've got assessing, is acknowledging. The acknowledging is where you're super honest with yourself. Can I improve? And how can my business improve if I were to grow my skill set in this area? So you're acknowledging that better is available, right? The final one is nothing happens till something happens, right? The final A is action. So we've got assessing, acknowledging, and then activating, right? Taking action, moving in a direction with a plan of improvement.
Yeah, boy, that really does work. But it takes a lot of courage, doesn't it? For somebody who has yet to really do this, the assessing can be very, very difficult.
Assessing can be really hard.
Let me ask you this. Chris, what is the best way to do assessment? Is it self-assessment, or is it self-assessment plus others' assessment combined?
I think, Ken, the best way to go whenever you're assessing yourself is to definitely ask somebody that cares about you, but they're not scared of you. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is a person that cares about you is someone that, hey, they want what's best for you. A person that's not scared of you means that somebody that'll tell you the truth. Because too often times we people ask and they act like they want feedback, but nobody ever wants to hear criticism.
Right.
And I think it's all in the spirit that's what's given. So if you've got somebody around you that cares about you, that's not scared of you, and you allow them to give you some guidance as well, I think that can help us to truly understand kind of where we are. One of the things I talk about with leaders is being self-aware. Mm-hmm. Like, are you aware of how you're viewed in the office? Are you aware of how your customers view your business? That self-awareness really requires us to be brutally honest with ourselves. But I think that's the best path for improvement, is to know where I am. Because, for example, if I've got somebody performing at an 8 and they want to get to 10, then I know there's 2 degrees. If I have somebody that says, man, I want to get to a 10, and I ask them, well, where are you? And they don't have a baseline, we don't have a start point. So it's very important to know where you are, know where others think you are, but still know where you want to go.
We were talking about processes and systems earlier. I want to come back to that. Looking at the assessing, the acknowledging, and the activating. This isn't just good for the leader themselves, but this is great for the entire organization. So I'd love to get some suggestions from you. How can these leaders and owners begin to take AAA? How would they say, okay, Chris, I like that. That's good. That's not just good for me and my leaders.
Right.
Let's do that for the entire company.
Right.
How would a small business begin to implement the AAA process?
Well, I think, Ken, I think the AAA process is something that's good in all areas. I think you can use it in your business, your personal life, with your family, your kids, all the way around.
Oh, sure.
But I think in business, when you're assessing where you are, it's a matter of, hey, what's winning? What area of the business is winning, or what product line is winning? Also be honest about yourself and say what's not performing well, what's underperforming, or what's losing. That kind of statement, and as you look at that and you talk about that as a self-employed individual or with your leadership team, now you start to get really, as I call it, leadership naked, right? You start to get honest about, hey, we want this area to win, but we're going to be honest about it. The next is acknowledging kind of what's missing. Look at your business. Do you have certain people that you need to hire, that you need to bring on? Do you have certain resources you need to add, or systems that needed to be added for the team to go to the next level? And then I think the rubber meets the road with the activating. Now that I've assessed, now that I've acknowledged, what are we going to change to really start to help our business grow forward?
Yeah. And to that end, it's a scary thing for a business owner or a leader to make a big change. It just is. Unless it's just one of those ones where it's been coming forever, everybody knows it, and we finally just do it. But a lot of times, leaders, we hear this in EntreLeadership, that the change, it has some unknowns to it. What's your approach? What do you counsel leaders to do when they're facing something that they believe should happen, but there's no way for them to completely predict what will happen?
Right. No, I like that. And I think if you are a transparent leader, being open and honest, where you talk about the AAA, kind of assessing with the team, this is where we are. This is what we acknowledge where we could be. And this is the steps we're going to take to go there. Right? I think if you're talking about that with the team and setting that vision, it invites the team to get on board. If the team sees it and they're being honest about where things are, but also being realistic and honest about where things could go, now it's a lot easier. Here's my thing. I'm going to let out one of my secret weapons from EntreMaster Series.
I like it.
Here's the deal. I don't talk about change. I talk about improvement.
Okay.
Like nobody likes change.
You're right. The word itself,
it just makes people get knotted up right inside. So here's what I would tell leaders. Let's not talk about change. Let's strive for improvement.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to improve.
Boy, you're right about that.
It's a different spirit. That's a semantic thing, right?
Right.
Just a word play,
right.
but it's something about the connotation behind improvement. People want to improve. Now, if you got people on your team that don't want to improve, that's another issue.
Yeah. Okay, there it is. Boy, that's so true. This is something I just want to talk to our audience real quick here. This is a great exercise for you, is to look at other words in your normal operation of business that create angst.
Yes.
And try to find another word. That's all you did there. You went, all right, why are we changing in the first place? Because we want to improve.
That's right.
Well, wait a second. Everybody wants to improve.
Yeah.
And so you just picked a different word.
I did. And I want to give the
really
leaders
good.
out there another tip. If you have a staff meeting or you do a whole team meeting, which I hope you do, we talk about that in the communication, is do me a favor, record yourself at a staff meeting one of these times. Like get an audio recorder and record and listen to your tone. Like the tone is a big deal. It's not, Ken, you've heard this. It's not what we say all the time. It's how we say it.
It's true.
And so what is your tone behind the message? I was working with a company, doing some consulting work and trying to help them with putting some systems in place. And the leader thought he was giving a motivating lesson, a motivating message. You know, Ken, he was angry. Like sitting there listening to him and watching the team, what he thought was motivating was coming off as chastising. It was anger. And so I had to tell him, I said, dude, what was your goal of that meeting? He said, was to get them fired up. Well, I said, here's the deal. You got them pushed down. Your tone wasn't matching your intent.
Interesting.
And so it's really important for us to have that self-awareness so we can improve.
That's really good. Here's a question I want you to share with our audience because they know you well. So you've been at Ramsey Solutions for how long?
13 years.
13 years. You have spoken on finances. You've written a best-selling book on retirement. You got another book coming out soon on everyday millionaires, and yet you're still very involved in EntreLeadership. You really are the headliner for this event, EntreMaster Series, coming up October 7th through 11. You're doing this because you love it. You've got enough going on over the financial space. Why do you keep doing this? Why speak to business owners? Why are you still so involved?
Well, I am the result of working with great leaders, as I call them, coaches. From the sports world to the classroom, I've had people that have really believed in me and guided me, and I love the coach. I am a coach. I want to help people get better, and I think there's no better opportunity than to get help leaders and these business owners to really go back and to have an impact on their team. One of the things I tell people is that a good leader can help people get better at their job. That's a fact. A good leader will sit down and they'll mentor and they'll guide people and they can get better at their job. But there's a difference when you work with a great leader. Good leaders can help you get better at your job, but a great leader can help you get better at your life. They can help you think differently about things. And that's what I see EntreLeadership Master Series being. An opportunity to impact leaders, to give them some tools. This business stuff can be lonely. Man, you can be somewhere and you're pushing and striving against the economic situation and battling against competitors, and you're pushing and striving, and most of the time you don't have anybody in your corner. You don't have anybody saying, hey, you're doing a good job. Or you know what, you're doing a good thing for your customers. And I think having been the recipient of good coaching, of somebody to cheer you on, but also somebody to get in your grill, somebody to tell you when you need to tweak, that to me is an impact. And so if what we're doing with EntreLeadership is really giving business owners, number one, the community, for you to understand you don't have to lead alone, but the opportunity to really have a massive impact when we get like-minded people together at this event. I love to see the synergy. I love to see the networking that goes on. I love to see how they coach each other at this event. And it's one of those things where people come in maybe tired, but they leave out motivated, they leave out focused, and they've also made 20 to 30 new friends. That to me is a positive thing.